Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. I'm here with my good friend Frank Garay. Frank, thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank
And
you.
man, so much knowledge. I'm so excited. Let's hop right in. So, first off, you have been around the mortgage industry for an incredibly long time. You've helped impact so many lives. Would you mind sharing with people just like a little bit of how you got into the industry and just some of your accomplishments up until this point?
Yeah, no problem. Trust me, I'll keep this brief for the listeners because I know these parts of these interviews can just drag on and on and on. But I won't.
Mm-hmm.
I promise I won't do that to you. Got into the industry in January of 1987. I've been in it for 35 years at this point.
Wow.
Um, but there is one funny thing. It's like nobody sets out to enter into the mortgage industry, right? It seems like the mortgage industry finds you,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that how it all always works? The mortgage industry
Yes.
finds you. You don't find the mortgage industry. It finds you somehow, and then you wind up in it. I have the similar story. I won't get into the details, but the mortgage industry found me in January of 1987. I've been in it ever since. So I'm, 35 years or whatever it might be. And the past 14, 15 years of that career have been as an industry influencer, and that was through our podcast or our video blog, the National Real Estate Post, which was originally called Think Big, Work Small,
Huh.
that my friend and uh, business partner, Brian Stevens, had done for the past 14, 15 years. So recently, we still work together on the National Real Estate Post. I still participate over there. I'll still host some shows and do some things for those guys. But at this stage in my career, I'm 10 years older than Brian. So, and Brian's 50. So do your own math right there. So, I came to a point where it's like, hey, brother, I've been doing this for 15 years with you, and it's been awesome. And I still love you. And I want to do things with you, but I kind of want to go explore some other things and do some other things because I've only got about 5 or 6 years left before hopefully I can just sail off into the sunset from the industry, or at least choose to if I want to. Right.
That's amazing.
And he was like, whatever you want to do, bro, just anything, just whatever you want to do. So immediately connected with Carl, one of my best friends in the world who I met 14, 15 years ago because he was doing kind of the same things we were doing. He was working in video and things like that. And, Carl like said, hey man, I got just the thing for you. Come on over. Let's hang out and be coworkers too. I was like, cool. So now I'm with animals and I do other things. I'm kind of a freelancer at this point,
Okay.
right? I work with other companies and whatnot. And it's great, man. Everything's awesome right now, Chris. I love where I'm at in life and in my career right
That
now.
is fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
and congratulations, first off. Second, you've talked to, I mean, so many of the large producers and helped so many people. And so I'm looking at getting into kind of like three things that we'll discuss today: how to get more customers,
Hmm.
how to scale the business, and
Hmm.
then how to hire and
Hmm.
essentially, step back from the business so that you're an owner of a business, not necessarily
Sure.
the worker in the business. So,
Yeah.
out of all of the people that you've interviewed and all of the knowledge that you've amassed over the years, what are you finding that are the absolute best ways to go out and get new mortgage customers?
So I got to tell you, a lot of this that I'm about to say is directly from mortgage marketing animals, and I
Yes.
and it's simply because I've done a lot in my career. I've experimented with a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things, a lot of product, a lot of coaching, a lot of heck, I've done coaching where I was the coach. Um, but really, when it comes down to it, what is the most effective thing that gets done, especially for the high end producers,
Yeah.
is they really do focus hard on their realtor partners. They
Yeah.
focus hard on that. They do focus hard on updating people during the active process of getting loans done. Updates are very, very clutch to get more business. And of course, they really do a great job of staying in touch with their past client database, is what they do. Now, there's other ways that you can certainly generate mortgage business into the door. I think one of the most creative things that I've seen lately that a lot of the big shots do is a lot of real estate agents have spent a lot of money on leads,
Yep.
right? And Unfortunately, as is with a lot of salespeople, loan officers included, you spend all this money on leads, you make one or two swings at them, and then you don't touch them again. And next thing you know, you've got this big giant pile of what we call zombie leads, right?
Yep.
Leads that have been purchased, that someone showed some interest in either real estate or a mortgage at some point. You got that information, and now it's sitting in a big old spreadsheet somewhere and hasn't been touched in a long time. And so the originators that realize that real estate agents have those zombie leads, who connect with those agents and say, hey, one of the things that I can help you with, because this is the typical way it goes, Chris, we all know this. Loan officer reaches out to an agent that they've never done business with.
Yep.
And they reach out to that agent because that agent is a good one and they know it, right?
Yep.
Well, that agent more than likely has at least one other loan officer that they're already working with, right? So how do the good loan officers break down that barrier? And one of the ways that they do it is, I tell you, some of these things are just hilarious. So when they get that objection, oh, I've already got a loan officer.
Yep.
And then the loan officer, simply goes, oh, okay, no, I'm sure you do great. Yeah. Are they working the DSP for you? Is that working for you? And they're like, are they working the who? What? Oh, the DSP, the daily success plan. A big part of that is, getting those old zombie leads that you might have laying around that you haven't done anything with. And we've got a system over here. We can just plug them right in. We'll work the daylights out of those leads and revive them and send them back to you. Are they helping you with that? Are they doing that? And usually the answer is like, hell no, they're not helping me with that. Oh, we could do that. You can still keep your relationship with that guy. That's cool. But we'll do this on the side and we'll see what we can dig up for you. Things like that. Zombie leads from realtors are a fantastic way, and just working the realtor partners in general. And you can always just buy leads. Let's be honest. You can certainly buy leads, but you're going to be investing a lot of money in that. And you probably are sitting on a gold mine. If you've been in the business any length of time, 3, 4, 5 years, even if you've got a small database, 300 past clients, well, you got a database of family and friends too. But working that database, just staying in touch, how you doing? Appreciate you letting us help you out in the past, just seeing what's going on. Kids good, everybody good, great. Hey, before I let you go, just, can I count on you if you happen to know any family, friends, or coworkers that might be looking to buy, sell, or refi that you might think of me? Give me a buzz. Happen to know anybody right now? Those simple tasks are, proved to be extremely fruitful because people want to help you, and your past clients, they love you.
Yep.
It's the easiest call in the world. So I would really, emphasize just focusing on really paying close attention to the realtors that you've already done business with as a buying agent and a selling agent, say over the past year or so. Just kind of look at all of that and really work connecting with those people and just being their friend, letting them know you're here, reminding them you're here to work, letting them know that you can help them with maybe their zombie leads.
Yep.
Whatever the case may be. And, just let that unravel for you, because it will unravel in a very, very positive way.
Yep.
We've got guys on our breakfast club. We could talk about that for a second too, but
Yeah.
on our Loan Officer Breakfast Club, there's one guy in particular. His name's Mitchell Tucker. And this guy found me through a Carl podcast.
Okay.
And found me on LinkedIn and connected with me. And he's brand new. He's actually in the Air Force for another 2.5 years. He's starting his transition into mortgage 2.5 years before he gets out of the Air Force. So he's
awesome.
working mortgage on the side while he's active duty Air Force, right? Which just blows me away. And he knows nothing. He's a complete starting from scratch, tapped into a Carl podcast, came to me on LinkedIn. I suggested Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Now he's in Breakfast Club, got a strategy call. He's doing the DSP. Here's this kid lining up multiple appointments with real estate agents that are, let's be clear, in animals, we look for qualified agents, right? We look for agents that have the ability to give us deals. We're looking for 8 buyer sides a year, something like that.
Yep.
This new kid, green, right? Wet behind the ears, Air Force full-time, mortgage guy part-time, is nailing appointments with these producing realtors, right? And starting to get business out of these people by just following a simple plan. But that plan is, and to get back to the question, how do we get more? And we got to work with these real estate people. We really should. And there's a way to do it. And don't feel like, they've already got loan officers. Of course they do. Of course, I would certainly hope they do.
Yeah, that's right.
But that doesn't mean you're out. that means you just got to ask them, okay, great. Are they doing the DSP? And they're going to be like, what are you talking about? Oh, well, this is one of the things we do,
Yep.
right? It just
And
works.
one of the things that I always used to say when I was going out and I was working to get realtor business is I would say, hey, look, I'm not trying to disrupt your existing relationship. I just want to work the deals that I bring to you. Does that sound fair?
That's super fair. I mean, what realtor wouldn't do that? So, by the way, full disclosure, I sell real estate now, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I work with my mother. So, my mother, 80 years old. This is another reason that I made changes recently in my life. My mother's like 80 years old. She's been selling real estate locally for like 43 years or something like that, right? And she just can't stop selling it because she's been just doing it so long. She has so many clients over 40 years. She still gets them. She
Yep.
gets their kids now. She's getting grandkids now, right?
Wow.
From past clients. Her, you got to go to Annie. You got to go to Annie. You got to go to Annie. And she's at the point where, she just needs some help. But I tell you what, as a real estate agent, now I do get calls from loan officers from time to time, that don't
Yep.
know me or not connecting that this is the Frank Garay from the National Real Estate Post, right? I get calls here and there, people soliciting me, but no one is ever saying, hey man, we'll get some deals together. I'll send some deals back to you. If I had anyone telling me that, I'd be like, rock on. What can we do? Let's do it.
Right?
And my kid's a mortgage broker in town.
That's amazing. So it's incredible. And so just to touch on the database marketing side of things, so many people are so transactionally based in their businesses right now. They're solely focused on bringing in the new stuff that they forget about that low-hanging fruit. And much like your mother's business, that's from having those relationships, having that outreach, having that consistency over time. If you've been in the mortgage business for any longer than 3 years, statistically, you're going to generate the majority of your business from past customers that are referring you.
Right.
But with me being on the technology side of things, we see Google still growing 10% per year of people that are going to the internet and doing a search for loan officer near me, best loan officer. So every year, that database has the potential to erode on you if you don't keep those relationships. Because what we're finding with a lot of our customers, Google is becoming the third greatest referral partner. You've got your past customers, you've got your realtor referral partners, and then you've got Google. If you can get good 5-star Google reviews, and when somebody says, who's the best loan officer in town, Google puts you on the front page, they're your new referral partner.
Yeah, it's true.
But you got to protect the front end first.
You do.
Before you go after that, you got to get into that database marketing. So that's super valuable, Frank.
Yeah, my Brian Stevens always, and one of the things he's always said is, man, your database is either growing or it's shrinking. Yep. One of the two. It's either growing or shrinking. One of the two. It just depends on what you do with it.
So if I may make a recommendation. So you are running the Loan Officer Breakfast Club. What's the best way for people to tune into that?
Well, you go online. You just go to, it literally is loanofficerbreakfastclub.com.
Awesome.
So you go to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com and you just register there. And of course, it's free. And it's a Monday through Thursday Zoom call. So it's not a webinar. This isn't a one-way thing. It's just like we're doing right now, except there's going to be 150 people on it, right? And what we do on there is we do revolve around the daily success plan through Marketing Animals because it's brilliant and it works and it's amazing and produces double comma club people, right? People earning, netting $1 million a year, or more. It's fabulous. So we do revolve around the DSP. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are going to be talking about, Thor's Hammer calls, realtor calls on Mondays, Just Ask calling the active pipeline of our, our active deals, calling that, Wednesdays past client, Thursdays are pre-approved and lookings and touching our realtor partners and texting. And so we do revolve around that. But the really cool thing about it is that there's 150 originators on there on every level of success, right? We've got, like I said, Mitchell Tucker. He's brand new and surprisingly contributes a lot to Breakfast Club because sometimes as a 35-year veteran, we just need to see the industry through fresh eyes again. Do you know what I mean? and go, dang it, that's inspirational to me. You
Yes.
know, this kid's calling 30 realtors on a Monday, picked up 6 appointments, then they're all producing realtors, and he's going to go in there and
Yep.
start what am I doing? Right.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
that, and then we've got guys, dude, we've got guys on there. Well, Jen Connolly, she's one of our
Oh yeah.
co-hosts. She's, you know, Jen, right? She's
Yep.
300 units a year in, you know, small podunk Idaho or Ohio. She's in Ohio, right? You know, her whole county, I think, you know, has what, 30,000 people or something like that. It's like a really small town. And she's doing a third of the business in her whole county every year.
Wow.
Her team alone, you know. And so we've got people like that. And Jen, she doesn't take loan apps. She doesn't quote rates. She doesn't do any of that. She's built her business to where she's out there doing her radio show that she loves to do. She does the things she loves to do, her radio shows, her podcasts, her getting together with agents and hanging out and having lunch, and you know, those types of things are all she does. So we've got that caliber of person on there. We have a guy on there from Movement Mortgage, does 600 units a year, you
Yep.
know, and gets value out of Breakfast Club. So, you know, I would really recommend. It is early. It's Monday through Thursday. It's 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time. So for you West Coasters like me, got to get up early. But what a great way to start your day,
Exactly.
right?
That's
What a great way. You're just like, yeah, let's go, man.
that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
Breakfast Club is going to get you everything that you need, and what you've shared with us here on the podcast. That's going to fill up your pipeline. So
Sure.
now you're going to get to a point where you've got more deals than you can handle. Then you end
Right.
up on the loan officer roller coaster, because then you get
Yeah.
into processing and
Yeah.
you stop doing the activities that are
It's
actually
terrible.
bringing loans in the door.
Yeah.
So we figure out the marketing and advertising. Then we got to figure out internal operations and
Yeah.
scaling of your team so that you're not the bottleneck on the number of loans that you get.
Yes. Exactly.
So can you share with us the best ways to grow or scale the business?
Yeah, scaling. So this is where it comes. I like Mike over at Animal says there's always two. It just comes down to two problems, right?
Yep.
We either don't have enough business, which is what we just talked about, getting it in, right? Or we just don't have enough help, right?
Yeah.
Where it's we don't have enough business, or we don't have the help. You know, if we don't have the business, we're going to bust our butt to get it in. Then when we get it in, we're going to realize now I got to work with it all, and now I don't have the help to help me take care of that business, so I can continue to go get new business. So it just comes down to two things: either we don't have enough business, we don't have enough help. And so the best way to deal with this is to understand that at some point, you're going to have to invest in some way with getting some help.
Yes.
Okay, that's the only way you can possibly scale your business. You're going to, in some way, have to get some help. Now, one of the most clever things I ever heard Carl bring up regarding this is, you know, you might be at that 4 or 5 loan a month kind of place, and you're just kind of, you can't go any further because you got enough time to get a little business in, but then you got to deal with it. So you're kind of stuck here. So to try and get to 10 deals a month, you're thinking, man, I just don't feel confident in my 4 or 5 to spend the money on an assistant to help me get to the 10.
That's right.
Right. So what Carl brought up, he says, sometimes in your office, if you are in an office that does have a lot of originators, or right, sometimes there's an originator there who does have assistants, who is doing fine, and he's ripping and roaring. Sometimes what you can do is say, hey, can I tap into your assistance? You'll get a piece of my deals, right? You get some basis points of anything I do, but can I tap into your assistance a little bit with certain activities that I've noted down here that I need done to help lift me up a little bit, so then I can branch off and get my own assistant. But in the interim, you, Mr. Loan Officer, who have 2 assistants who have a little bandwidth for me, you'll make some basis points off of me and my deals if you let me make use of your assistance. So that's it's a clever way to kind of, you know, it's a little stepping stone if needed in order to get to where you've got your own assistant. Then what really comes down to is, when we're getting that first assistant, is really understanding what it is they're going to do, right? Yeah. It's that job description. That's the most important thing, because look, in my 35 years in this industry, I've run large branches where I've had 60 loan officers underneath me, right, for years at a time, where, you know, my deal is if you got enough volume, right? And you feel you want an assistant to go to the next level. Okay, I'll share the cost of the assistant with you. Okay. And I could tell you, Chris, 8 out of 10 times when that's happened, the loan officer never did any more volume when he got his assistant. Never. Nope. So what wound up happening is they didn't really have the job description clearly laid out for the assistant, right?
Yep.
So the assistant gets in and just kind of watches them for, 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then the loan officer starts feeling like, well, I can hand you this, and I can hand you, you could do this, and you could do that, and you could do this. But the things that usually get handed off to the assistant aren't necessarily giving that loan officer enough lift to really go out and do anything else. Or what winds up happening, which was really frustrating for me as a manager, was they would get some lift and they would free up some time, but they'd use that to go golfing.
Yeah.
Right. Or they'd use that free time to sit around. Yeah. You know what I mean? And relax when we did not achieve the goal of you're going to get an assistant so you can have more time to get more business. So when it comes to scaling, we really have to look at, and this is why the DSP is so great, because with the DSP, you have the plan. Yep. You know what needs to get done every single day, Monday through Thursday. You know the plan, right? So if we're not sticking with the plan without the assistant, that means we don't have the time to do the plan. So what parts of the plan, right? Or what parts of the plan are slipping through the cracks that I could have an assistant do at the same time, helping me make sure I'm staying out of the operations side of things. That's right. Most guys, when they get their first assistant, it's going to be operations based, right? Pay stubs, conditions, putting out fires, that kind of a thing. And that's important. But if you're at 6 or 7 loans a month, I mean, you don't got that many pay stubs and that many fires to put out, if we're going to be honest. Yep. So what you can do is start training that assistant to do other things, right? That assistant could be calling realtors and setting up appointments for you.
Yep.
Okay. If you suck at it, or if you're scared to do it, right, you can train that assistant to do that. That assistant can be doing file updates on Tuesdays to all the borrowers, co-borrowers, realtors, everything, asking for the business, calling on your behalf. That assistant can be doing that. That assistant can be calling your past client database, right? That assistant can be calling pre-approved lookings, or doing what can help you with the marketing side of things, as well as help you with the operations side. Yep. What it comes down to is fear on the originator side of letting go. Yeah. They think, no, you're not going to call a realtor and try and set an appointment for me because they want to hear from me. I'm sorry, but we've got too much data. We've been doing this too long with too many people to flat out tell you, you're just flat wrong.
Yeah.
You're just flat wrong. Your assistant can help you with these things, but they got to be scripted the right way. And that's where, again, if you get the proper coaching and assistance, that's where that stuff can be handed over to you.
Absolutely. And I love what it does for the mental capacity of the loan officer to understand. And it takes a little bit of time, especially if they're process minded, because some people join the mortgage industry because they love that processing of the loan type work. Mm-hmm. But when you understand that somebody, okay, they may not do it 100% as good as you do.
Right.
But they'll do it 80% as good, and that's good enough.
It is.
In order to get it done. And what it does is it gives you the freedom in your business to go through what the Freedom Club and Mortgage Marketing Animals calls the acts of freedom.
Right.
And that's a process of going through and discovering what your unique ability and your unique gifts are. And I'm not doing it justice here, but essentially you get to a point in your business where you understand the things that give you energy rather than take energy away from you, so that you go to work every day, like Jen Conley that you mentioned. She's going out, she's doing podcasts, she's meeting with realtors that she enjoys meeting with and has real, true friendships with, that sort of thing. Media appearances, going on the radio, that's what lights her fire. Some people might look at that and go, I'm terrified. I would never get on the radio.
I don't want to do that.
So that's okay. You hire somebody who does the media appearances and does the podcast and you can hire anybody for anything.
Right. You can.
If that's what they love to do, most likely they're going to be even better than 80%. They might even do it better than you do. you just got to find that thing that you love doing, and then you can build the business around you. But if you still got your arms around the whole thing, you're never going to be able to do it.
Right. And what I've noticed too, especially on Breakfast Club, we get to talk to all these amazing originators, that just what normally winds up happening is they say, once I gave up control and I let these people kind of take over, I realized that they actually do it better than I did.
Yeah.
Right. They're actually way better at doing it than I was. And,
Yeah.
We tend to think that we're the best at it. And we are, we're really good. The thing about the mortgage industry, Chris, it is a technical industry, right?
Yes.
We, to learn all the nuances of all the guidelines of all the products and the calculation of incomes and debts and what's allowed and what's not allowed. It's a mountain of information that as an originator, when we start green, but then when we get to that point, maybe it's a couple years later where we feel like, I got this thing, it's there's an element of pride there in knowing I'm really good at this and I've really got this dialed in. And so it just becomes very difficult to comprehend handing this over to somebody when they're clearly not as good as this as me or as intelligent regarding all these things as I am. That's a difficult, that's what they all say too. They say that was their number one issue, was being able to give up, just to relent to the process and let these people take control. And in the beginning, these people may need a little coaching and educating in the very beginning, but they're just as smart as you, more than likely, half the time, probably even smarter. And they're going to pick this stuff up and totally get it. And they're going to be awesome. They're going to be amazing for you.
Yeah. And that's the one thing, is that you don't have to get to mastery, but you do have to get to competence in order to put somebody in that role. Because if you just hire somebody for something that you've never done yourself, you're not going to be able to train them and make sure that they're doing the job properly. But you've at least got to get to the point where you can point them in the right direction and be like, do it this way, don't do it this way. Here's your script. Here's why you use it, because I did this and this is what happened. You just got to be able to get, that's an Elon Musk principle of like, I can't run a rocket company and a car company and all these sorts of things, but my engineering mind needs to be good enough that when I talk to that person in that role, I know just enough to be able to make sure whether I know they're BSing me or not.
Right. No, I would agree with that 100%. Yeah.
So that's incredibly valuable. So we're scaling the business by identifying those roles, putting clear descriptions in place, getting them to do it, but we needed them. So third question is, where do we go and find these people? How do we find people to join the team to help us scale?
Yeah. And, there's a handful of ways that we can find these people. And I do want to preface it with this is building a team, finding the right people, getting them plugged in, making sure they're the right people, right? This is a process, and this takes time. But that's okay, because this is your career, right? This is not some part-time summer job. This is your career. So it's worth investing time into this process, because if you can invest time into this process, you're going to absolutely change your career.
Yes.
And I'm talking to these people every day, so nobody can tell me this isn't a fact. It is. You will absolutely transform your career. You will absolutely be able to run your own business inside of your company's business. It's one of the most remarkable things about the mortgage industry is you can actually run your own business inside of someone else's business. Right? I could work for ABC Mortgage Banker and they've got their thing going on, but I can run my own business inside of that business, and they will applaud me for it and thank me for it and cheer me on the whole way. So it's a very unique industry that we're in where we can actually do this. And so I just want to make the emphasis that if you really want to do something special in this career, you really need to do it this way. You really need to build teams. You really need to find those things, like you said, the action. You must find what are the things that I really love to do, that I'm really good at, that generate the most business in, and you must have a team to support that in every way. And if you do that, it's really unlimited. All you do is just add more people as you go, and you could build this thing up to be just quite remarkable. But with respect on how to find these people, this is a challenge, right? Finding good people that we can bring into the fold and train them up our way and what we need to get done. This is a tough one. It can get done. I would again emphasize, working with a coaching team. I'm certainly going to say marketing animals because we have the resources to help guide you on how to figure out what the job description is. Number one, first of all,
Yep.
what's the stinking job description? Very clearly what needs to be laid out. That's step one,
Yep.
right? Secondly, I want to point this out. Recently in the news, in the mortgage and real estate news, mortgage jobs are declining.
Yeah.
And okay, now here's what's going to happen. As rates push upward, which every great prognosticator in the country is saying is going to happen. They've been saying it for years, but here I think it's really happening now. We're seeing rates kind of ease up. Keep in mind, like in any low interest rate environment, the refi booms that come across, companies expand and grow and devour that stuff, and companies materialize out of thin air, and suddenly there's this new mortgage company just gobbling up refis. That takes resources, that takes people, that takes support staff, that takes underwriting, processing, assistance. And so right now the pickings are kind of slim, or I should say up until now the pickings are kind of slim because everybody's busy. Everybody needs people, and companies are willing to pay big fat bonuses and all kinds of crazy things to get people because they need them, right?
Yep.
Well, here's the deal. That's going to start to change. And what's going to start to change is you're going to see companies falling apart, companies getting out of the business. The refi sweatshops that all materialize to get this stuff done, they all go away, right? Or get scaled way down. You're going to start seeing, and I would start advertising now, honestly, but you're going to start seeing mortgage related support staff and operation staff and assistants come online, like looking again, because a lot of people they're just not prepared for it. They're not structured properly as far as purchase refi ratios are concerned. They're just simply not. They're probably 70% refi, 80, 90. I've seen so many companies 80, 95% refi. I mean, come on, this isn't healthy. So they're going to have to start laying off people, which means some people are going to be coming to light, right, for you guys. So this, obviously you can run the ads, the Indeeds, there's, what's the one we like to use? Wise Hire, WIZE Hire. They're good because they're one spot. You put it in, it goes to all those aggregators. I've used Wise Hire recently and gotten several very good qualified candidates to come in for roles that I'm looking for. It does work well, and that's one of the ways that you can do it. If you're looking for assistance in particular, right, that type of a thing. And there are plenty, and there's going to be a lot more support staff getting their resumes dusted off and posted there as far as operation staff are concerned, processors and all that kind of stuff. So that is a great way to get it done. Another great way to get it done is, and this was one of my old tricks, that I just, worked really well for me. If you're in a spot where you can do, the real estate agent board breakfasts or things like that, where you actually get in there and maybe they always typically, and you're going to have a crowd of, 50, 60, 100, depending on how big the board is, real estate agents in there. You can just stand up when you have your opportunity, stand up, say, I'm hiring. If you know anybody, if you know of anybody who's unhappy or is looking, that type of thing, I'm in need of this, that, or the other thing. And just by doing that, it kind of gets in the head of those people. And, I've hired people doing that, many, many times. Another good place to let people know is your closing agents too, right? So your closing agents they're always have their ear to the ground on who's happy, who's not happy, what's going on, and things like that. So if you let them know you're looking for support staff or assistants or loan partners, things like that, that's a good way to go about it too. So it's just basically getting the word out. Now, another really fun one is LinkedIn. And Scott Hedspeth is just the master at this, and so the way you do it, obviously on LinkedIn, I won't get into the details here, but you can certainly find loan officer assistants and processors and support staff and anything like that. You can connect with them, that type of a thing. And when you start having a little conversation with them on LinkedIn, that's one of the best plays in the book, I think, is when you talk to them, you basically compliment them. Hey, I can see you're really awesome. You're really great at what you do. And I'm looking for someone just like you. Do you happen to know anybody out there that's, just like you that might be interested in looking at a new opportunity? Because I need somebody I need somebody like you. So if you know anybody like you, let me know, and then most of the time you get people go, well, I'm a lot like me. In fact, I'm just like me. What's the opportunity?
Right.
And you'd be just surprised. I mean, I've done that. We hired a gal, and we needed a good receptionist type of front end person. And that's a tough person to find too, right? You gotta find the right person that's got enough of a bubbly personality, who's going to be happy on the phone or greeting at the door or whatever, and there was this gal at a coffee shop that I went into every single day. And she was just the coolest, man. And get up there. She was just so vibrant and just, and we needed someone. And I said, hey, can I talk to you real quick? She goes, yeah. I go, we're trying to hire somebody. I really want someone that's just like you. I bet you got friends that are just like you. Do you got any friends or anyone that's like you that might be interested in looking at this opportunity? We hired her in 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had her in 2 weeks. She came over. It's kind of a, cheesy, kind of funny thing to do, but it does work. So I would just say, just get the word out. Just start getting the word out. The Wise Hire thing does work good. You'll get a lot of opportunity there. Letting your referral partner know, your referral partners know, letting your closing agents know is a big one. This is what I'm looking for. You got to remind them. You just say it once. I mean, it's one and done, right?
Yep.
You got to remind them, hey, just keep me in mind. I'm looking for some help, because they usually know good people. They might know someone who's good from a title company or something like that, who's looking, talking. You say, you should call that girl. I really like that girl. She's great, man. I know she'd do really well. Okay, let's make that call. And I think you'll be able to find people pretty, fairly easily. But then you got to go through the process of, training them up and making sure they're a good fit, and all that kind of fun stuff,
Very cool.
Just some ideas.
Super valuable stuff, Frank. Thank you so much. And thank you for being so generous with your time. Now, I know that we mentioned the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. If somebody's looking to reach out or connect with you, what's the best way? Is it the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, Breakfast Club is fine, but I would really just go to my website, which is my name, Frank. It's frankgaray.com. Just frankgaray.com. You get there, you'll see, like I said, I'm kind of a freelancer. I do a lot of things with several groups or whatever. But all my contact info's there.
Perfect. Well,
easy to get a hold of me there. frankgaray.com.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. And to everybody who's listening, thanks so much. And in advance, thank you for your 5-star reviews on iTunes. And we can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thanks again, Frank.
You bet. Thank you.
Hey, it's Chris Johnstone. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. I hope that you loved it and got incredible value from it. Right now, it's time to head on over to iTunes and leave your 5-star review if you enjoyed this episode. When you do, you will be entered into our monthly draw to receive an Amazon gift card. So go ahead, leave that review today. It also helps us attract top talent and really get incredible interviews lined up for you so that we can share even more value for you. Now, for the show notes and for all of the resources that were mentioned in this episode, you can head on over to loanofficerwealth.com. That's loanofficerwealth.com. You get access to all the show notes from all the episodes, all the past episodes, get notified of new episodes when they drop, and we've also got some very special bonuses for you over on that page when you opt in. So head on over and opt in today, and we look forward to sharing the next episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast with you soon.